What is going on, guys? My name is Aprox and welcome back to Satisfactory, where last time we built this magnificent power plant, which is now generating 1200 megawatts of power. But that is only a small step towards our main goal, which is planet domination. I mean, we're already kind of dominating the planet, right? Because we just turned it into a massive sandbox for us to play in, and we're using its resources to our advantage. Anyway, I took a liberty of... Whoa, that's trippy. Anyway, I took a liberty of actually building a teeny tiny steel manufacturing doodad down there. So we have a miner up here extracting our precious iron ore, then driving that iron ore into very weirdly rendered smelters. And the belts. Look at this, what is going on? Ah, much better. What was I thinking trying to explain this stuff from all the way down there? I was being stupid, sorry. Anyway, so we have this extractor right here, simply extracting iron ore and putting it through smelters to produce iron ingots. I don't know what you're saying. Wait, iron ingots? I thought you were saying you're producing steel. Well, I am, but we're not doing it the conventional way. We're doing it with an alternate recipe, which actually takes iron ingots and coal to produce steel ingots. Now this is also severely overclocked to accommodate our current needs. Anyway, this is far from being an ideal setup, but it is just something I quickly whipped up, you know, just so we have some resources stored in the backup so we can actually progress in this episode. So why don't I just take all set milestones, current milestone, we have enough materials to actually unlock Mark II miners, which is a huge improvement over our current Mark 1 miners. So now if we upgrade this bad boy, if we take a look at what we're producing right now is 240 coal per minute. And this is exactly what I was talking about in the previous episode when I was saying that our current power plant can produce more than double the power than it is producing right now. Now it is just a matter of upgrading our belt system and then upgrading our sulfur input, and then the production of compacted coal, which is a pretty tedious task now when I think about it, but let me take care of this and I'll be back in a second. Why the hell does it only produce... Let me bump it up a notch, come on, it can't be that bad. Okay, anyway, now at least we are going to have a surplus of supplies, so we can have a little wiggle room when it comes to actually balancing out our machinery. And when I say machines, I mean these bad boys. If we go to 240%, we are now producing 60. And this is something I want to do for every single machine. So now each of these assemblers are producing 60 rather than 30 compacted coal, which means that we can actually start overclocking our coal power generators. The only bottleneck that I see possible now would be water supply. So each group of 4 coal power generators only have 300 cubic meters supply of water. That divides them into 75 cubic meters per device. That means that we can go almost 200%. I wouldn't go as far as 200 because that's 77 cubic meters, which is gonna cause us problems in the long run, but 190% overclock produces a whopping 120, let's say 23 megawatts of power rather than 75 that it was producing before. Okay, so it's been a hot minute, right? And if we take a look at our power supply, we now are producing almost 1900 megawatts. Anyway, but now that that is taken care of, let's see what other goodness can we unlock. Hypertubes, okay, and that's pretty much it. We have unlocked pretty much everything else. Okay, and Hypertubes it is then.
Note: Fixit Incorporated is not responsible for any harm caused by irresponsible use of this product.
That is gonna be a key phrase, okay? So before I do anything else, let me see if I can actually produce any more fiber. Okay, and now if we put these parachutes on our backs, we are safe to try and build our hypertubes. Okay, so if we place this support here and then we put an entrance on it, connected to power, nothing happens, right? Because we need to make a tube. So now it is actually vacuuming everything that's in front of it. And if we go close, you get almost tossed out the middle. This gives me an idea. It's probably not a very original one, right? But it's an idea nonetheless. And there we have it. I know it's nothing too crazy or super special, but it gets the job done, right? Just a fair warning, if you get nauseated easily, you might want to close your eyes for this one. And we also have a very nice and convenient cannon to go back up again. So if we take this, it shoots us quite a bit higher up, but then we can use a parachute and orient our landing wherever we need to. So now that all the silly side projects are done, let's get down to actually making something useful and getting something done with our steel production. Okay, so I was thinking for a while and couldn't actually come up with a solution that would be reasonable to upgrading this kind of setup. So I decided, you know what? I'm just gonna rip everything out and start from scratch because, let's be honest, this is a very, very insignificant setup and we can do way better. Maybe this clears things up a little, right? This is what I was thinking. So resource ingestion would come right there in this tiny, well, not really that tiny window down there, and everything would get sorted. And then, wait a minute, I gotta fix that. So everything would get ingested from here: copper, iron, coal, all the necessary materials. Then everything would get sorted and split into their separate lanes and then would get refined. So if we take this 240 iron per minute, run all the way down here, and then we will get the smelter and then make iron ingots that later, with the help of our solid steel ingot alternate recipe, would get mixed into steel ingots, and that would actually produce 360 steel ingots. And even though this place looks massive, I'm more than sure that we are probably gonna run out of space. Quick update, guys, you would not imagine how much concrete does it take to build such a massive structure. It's crazy. Luckily there is a limestone node right here in the distance, so I might just make a concrete line really quickly and just like bump it in here. But anyway, if we take a look through the floor, this is actually a cavity floor underneath, and this is where most of our pass-through belt work is gonna come. And then we can also go out into the wild and see the backside of the building. And the way we are gonna be getting our resources in is basically by having a bunch of holes top here, like this and this and this and this, you know, just maybe in a more organized manner, right? And then we're gonna have conveyor lifts going down. So I think it's about time I actually go out and get the actual materials in so I can start kind of messing around with things and the layouts of the machinery. Would you look at that? A cave? It sort of became a theme of every episode, I guess, right? That I have to scream in terror and run for my life. I really hope that spiders can't crawl on ceilings. That would be disgusting. Oh, okay, I see one, two. Oh no, they saw me. Yeah, one shot, baby. Oh! How did that miss? How? There you go, boy. Yeah, these boys are done. They're nothing to me. Oh, we have quartz. Pure quartz. Whoa. Oh! No, piss off. He was having some fire in his mouth. What? No. It wasn't the one shot. It wasn't the one shot. It wasn't the two shot either. Ah. 3 shots. There's poison or some kind of disgusting thing in here. Oh, the enemies are actually quite a bit more relentless than they used to be. Remember the previous one? Oh! Oh! Let me out! Oh! No! That one was stupid, and this one just didn't want to give up. I don't want to be in this place a second more than I absolutely have to. Okay guys, I looked up a really cool method to make curved, well, perfectly aligned sort of curved foundations. And boy oh boy, that thing is amazing. If you take a look what I did up here, you can see that this thing is freaking awesome. I mean, on the inside, the walls are kind of, you know, meh, but no one's ever gonna see those. This is actually a pretty amazeballs way to make really decent looking foundations. Of course, still have to kind of support it, right? So it's not a stupid floating structure. I don't know how I did not find out about this before. Okay, so now if I just slap down all of these big foundations, right, this right angle actually aligns with the world grid, which is so good. So now if we take a look from up top, it has a really nice curve that follows the edge of a cliff, and that just adds so much more depth into the building. It's just ridiculous how easy it is, right? So you know what, it's just boom, limestone, boom, nice curve, boom, everything is into our factory. Okay, remember when I said, hey, it's super nice to have all this extra space, to have like nice belt management and all the space to move around in places and whatnot? I made this. Anyway, I really want this to be super compact so it doesn't take more space than it absolutely necessary has to. Now it's just the final stretch, and after that we just have to hook up our iron and push everything into the building where the actual manufacturing can begin. In short, this is probably gonna end up being not just a steel factory, but a beginner factory 2.0. Before I forget, let me just quickly connect the wiring back up so everything starts pumping again. It took a little fiddling, but I figured, you know what, I've literally never used wall-mounted belt support, and you know what, it actually makes kind of stealthy looking support line, and it gets the job done. Let me just quickly cover this up with this asphalt topping. Boom. Okay, and now we can move on to actually pumping everything in. And we finally have this thing all sorted out and kind of looking okay, I guess. It's not amazing, but you know what? It's gonna do for now. So now I have to take these two things and move them out of the way, kind of around, all the way around. Or you know what? Actually, since it's kind of hard to move and we're gonna need to be producing concrete and we're gonna need to be producing copper stuff like wire and sheets, it sort of makes sense to have it here because it's not super complicated. And this is also the smallest spot we have here. And then we could just pass through our coal and iron straight along this side so we don't have to bother like going around these rocks and whatnot. So I decided that I am going to split this one big sort of chungus piece of area into two sections. One of which is going to be producing concrete and dumping it either down or up. And the other section is going to turn copper ore into copper ingots. I'll see if I can fit 8 more smelters in this area because we need 4 smelters for copper and then 8 more for our iron ore. So that's gonna be 12 in total, and I don't really see how that would be feasible. I could get 5 in a row, but then there's pretty much no space left for all the belt work. And I really want to make it look sort of okay. You know, something more like this. I think, yeah, maybe this does look a little better. And it's also a little more compact. That means I can push things slightly closer towards each other. Okay, yeah, I think I'm gonna do that because we gotta save space, and then maybe I could push this wall, one whole foundation in so we have more space for the other thing, right? For all the smelters, and then we'll see. Maybe this just gonna work itself out, right? Okay guys, I've spent another hour building this thing. So we have these constructors, should be producing concrete. They do have everything hooked up, supply lines, export lines, or output lines, however you want to call them. So everything is going to go up here, and then there's going to be a ceiling at about this level, and I'm going to have every output organized and pushed through to some other place. I was thinking maybe have like an item spine going up and down in between each layer, but that would just overly complicate things, and I'm just going to stick to having one item spine. So now let me just go down and hook up all the limestone. Okay, now if I slap this one in, and then I slap this one down, and then this one in here, and this one all the way here, all 4 machines should be fully loaded and balanced. Boom! Oh yeah, I also put some accent lights. They're pretty bright though, so I just want to turn them down a little bit. Let's say do this and edit, add a nice orange going somewhere. There we go. Yeah, slightly better. Okay, it's fine. It's gonna be fine. So now that we have this sorted out, I'm not gonna go up and add like a storage system or anything. I'm just gonna try out and build the smelting facility, right? So we're gonna have 4 smelters for copper and 8 for iron. I'm gonna fiddle around with this a little bit, and then we'll see what we're gonna come up with. As you can see, this is the top of the concrete makery. We have a little bit of clipping, but I'm gonna be here so rarely, if at all, that I'm not gonna be bothered by it. So for now, it's gonna have just to fill up the container, and then we'll see if we even put concrete into an awesome sink, because you know, it's worth so little that it's probably not gonna be even worth it. Second item on the agenda is that we have now kinda sort of figured out how I want to place the smelters for copper and iron ingots. So I've been fiddling around for a while. I don't know, you tell me. I think that this actually is slightly too close to the glass to look good, so I kind of want to push everything further in towards the back wall. But the problem is there's so little space back here that if I go down, right, some of the beltwork could potentially get interrupted by this huge chunk of the mountain. Okay, yeah, I think that this is the solution. Some of you might be wondering, how the hell can you go from 12 smelters to 6? Well, the answer is overclocking. So now all that's left to do is to go and look for some power slugs. Let me just grab this bad boy. Okay, and the grand total is a very neat 31 power shards. Absolutely lovely. Yeah, and now all the machinery is actually configured. All that's left is all the belt work. So let's get to work. And there you have it. A fully functional copper smelting operation and, more importantly, iron smelting operation. So now we can have all the iron ingots and all the copper ingots in the world. Okay, not all the ingots in the world, but all we can manufacture and all we have. Okay, so I ended up simplifying the merging mechanism up top, and unfortunately it kind of does look like a certain body part per se. I'm not too proud of it. It was not my intention, obviously, but you know, it is what it is. Luckily, everything is going to be covered with foundations, so no one will ever see that we have giant dongs dangling on top of our roof. Anyways, I'm pretty proud how these both manufacturing areas turned out. The lighting, the layouts, the design, the thought that went into it, everything seems to be working just fine. Well, more than fine, nearly perfectly, I would say. At the risk of repeating myself, I'm gonna say it looks absolutely amazing. Did you come to make fun of me? I've told you not to come here. Come on, Mr. Bean. Told you to get lost, never come back, and we're no longer friends. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode because I know I really enjoyed making it. Don't forget to leave a like if you liked it, or a dislike if you didn't. And as always, this has been Aprox. Thank you for your eyeballs, and I'll see you in the next one.
Get that parkour!